Hello, it's Sharon. I hope that you can join me. I am the CEO and founder of the Jameson Group, and I'm here on Friday in my kitchen. Of course, I'm not doing any cooking, but I'm in my kitchen. But I thought I would leave some ideas from some of the amazing workshops and conferences that I had a chance to attend. And I had the privilege of sharing this week with other women leaders who were leaders in their families or organizations, leaders in different corporations. And we talked about how and why, what we can do to strengthen our friendship so that we can really indeed be sisters. Because I think sometimes we use this word sisters. However, we don't act as like sisters and we don't treat each other like sisters. Hey, Sandy and Athea and Wanda. So I want to share 6 principles that I shared during the workshop where we were able to talk about how can we be better sisters, how can we be better supporters of each other, because the truth is when the tide rises, all the boats go up, right? So a rising tide always elevates all the boats. And so we want to make sure that we are working with each other so that we can rise and share together in our greatness as well as in our influence, in our affluence, in our impact. So here are the 6 things that I shared. I didn't share them in any particular order. Hi, Yvette and Michelle and Wayne. The first thing I said that is so important for us to really move from friendship to sistership, our sisterhood, is to watch our assumptions. Assumptions. So often we should on people. You should do this and you should do that and you should be this and you should be that. And so often in our relationships, we have all these shoulds that we imprison people based on our own paradigms. And we have to understand that people are grown. People do not want to succumb to our paradigms. And in fact, if you want a person to play by your paradigm, you don't need a person, you need a pet. So we want to, again, look at, are we enforcing our assumptions on people and giving shoulds, and are we imprisoning them in a way that they cannot operate in their own individuality? Because people will not be friends in incarceration. So we want to think about that. Can we relinquish our assumptions and deal with people based on who they are and based on the content of their own character and based on their own feelings about life? So that's really, really important. Thanks, Sandy, for writing the notes. I appreciate it. Janice and Yvette. The second thing we talked about is the necessity of agreements. So let's talk about this for a while. I think we all have our own understanding of what friendship should look like. I have my understanding, you have your understanding. The problem is that when we think our understanding of what a friendship should look like is the only one that matters, and that's not true. When we think about developing partnerships, both people have to weigh in to make sure that the relationship is something that supports both of them, not just one. So often we feel that people are not our friendship, not friends with us, but we have designated our model as the only one that matters, and that's not true. So the question that we need to ask ourselves are, do we enter into relationships with people from a place of shared creation of a relationship, or are we into this dictation? Because people don't want to be dictated to. And a relationship has to be agile enough to welcome the variables and vicissitudes of a person's life. For example, if a person has 3 kids and a full-time job and you don't, the relationship is going to look different based on the variables and the vicissitudes of both people. So we want to make sure that we have an agreement of what the relationship needs to look like so both people have their needs addressed and both people have their desires addressed. It's not good to just think that your model of friendship is the only one that counts. So we need to be a shared agreement, and you need to let people know what they need to do to win at loving you and to win at liking you. People don't really want to be guessing. In fact, women who are powerful women, people of purpose, are not going to guess to try to get you. If you want people to show up for you, let them know what you need and tell them how you need it, and be ready to hear a no if they can not do it, but also be ready to give options so both of your needs are met. Hey, April and Unica. The third thing we talked about is appreciation. I think sometimes we allow people to come into our lives and then we just nitpick them to death. Instead of appreciating all their good qualities, all of their idiosyncrasies, all the things that make them great, we try to change them. Look, people are not trying to be changed. And also, your nitpicking is not going to encourage people to change. What's going to encourage them to change you out of their lives? People are not interested in going along to get along, especially people who know who they are. So we need to ask ourselves, how can we enter into sisterships from a place of appreciation? Appreciate all their idiosyncrasies, appreciate their gifts, their talents, appreciate their personality, appreciate their gifts. Because sometimes we like the person, but we don't like their gifts. Or sometimes we want to mismanage and use up their gift, but we don't like them. Nobody wants to be treated that way. So we want to make sure that we appreciate their gift and the person, and understand you can't divorce a person from their gift, and don't make them choose, because they probably won't choose you. So that's really important. Hey, Amber and Sandy. The fourth thing we talked about was the importance of understanding assignment. Why is somebody in your life? I think so often we allow people just to sashay into our lives, and we don't understand why they are in your life. Everybody in your life should be in your life by divine assignment, which means that three things. One, they come into your life as a refuge. Two, they come into your life as a resource. Three, they come into your life to bring a new revelation. Again, a refuge, a resource to bring something that you need, something that you a network, a connection, something, a resource, or a revelation. Now, if a person is not bringing any of those things, I want you to question it, because maybe they're not in your life by divine assignment. They are a demonic assassin. Because if a person doesn't have an assignment, they're just coming into your life not to make a difference, but to make a mess. So we want to be clear, very clear. Why is this person in my life? How can they serve me, and how can I serve them? It's not good to have people in your life. I call them stray people, because all they do is take up oxygen, take up energy. And sometimes if our life is so cluttered with the wrong people, God cannot bring the right people into our lives. So we want to think about and take an inventory and ask ourselves, do we have the right people in our life? Because our purpose picks our people. If you are a woman of purpose, we're not looking for personalities, because we don't really care about your personality. We care about your purpose. How are you, and how will you contribute to my purpose, and how can I contribute to your purpose? And I don't need to be kin to you or skin with you to win with you. So we have to make sure that we are more open-minded, to make sure that we have people in our lives who might not look like us, but have the same spirit, that have the same principles, and people understand your purpose and are willing to help you with your purpose. I don't care about your personality, because a lot of people are cute, but they're cutthroat. A lot of people are nice, but as we say in the South, they're nice nasty. And I don't want that type of energy, and you don't need that type of energy in your life. So we want to make sure that we're clear. What is their assignment? Why are they in your life? What's their purpose? And if they don't have a purpose, maybe we need to think about some elimination, right? Again, refuge, resource, or revelation. If not, extermination. They need to leave, because they're just taking up space and oxygen and effort, and you are a limited resource. Remember, I said it before, if you are a gallon of milk, everybody can get a cup. So we want to make sure that we do that. The sixth thing we talked about is the importance of advancement. Everybody in your life, hey Karen and Jackie and Robin, everybody in your life needs to have a commitment to their own growth, their own development. Because if a person is not adding value to themselves, then they can't add value to you. I'm always cautious when people want to oh, Sharon, let's be friends, but they're not doing anything, because I can do anything all by myself, right? So be careful that we don't have our friends, our lives cluttered with people who really are not committed to their own advancement. They're not ambitious. Nothing will slow you down than having the people around your life who have no goals, no dreams, are people who are okay with being mediocre. Mediocrity is not cute. And then you don't want people in your life who are just desperate. Desperation always breeds violation. When people are desperate, they cross lines and they violate their ethics. So we want to make sure that we understand those types of people in our lives and make a commitment to make some adjustments if people are not committed to their own advancement. You want people who believe in themselves, people who can be a resource, and people can't be a resource to you if they have not read the books since 1974, right? So we want to make sure that they understand that. And then the sixth thing we talked about, the importance of accountability. And I want to stay here for a moment because when we want to move toward sisterhood, the accountability means, can I trust you to follow through on what you said that you were going to do? Because accountability lets me know that I can trust you to deliver whatever you say. And that deliverable might be feedback, it might be support, and also it needs to be some accountability that if you hear gossip, he said, that she said, that I said, there should be a sense of accountability that I will come and talk to you first about my issue versus talking to 17 other people about the issue that I have with you. And in that session, so many women said that they have challenges, that sometimes they talk to everybody else versus the person that they need to talk with. And that breaks down relationships. One of the things that breeds trust is that if you have a problem with a person, talk to them, not 15 other people, because the only person that has the answer is the one that you're upset with. So we really talked about that. We talked about the importance of having some sense of accountability, some sense of obligation, or a holy vow, a covenant, so to speak, to make sure that you go directly to the person and get your issues addressed versus going around and being used as a puppet to perpetuate gossip and perpetuate messiness. And so we really talked about that. And then we also talked about the importance of activation. We need people in our lives that push us to take some action and push us in the way or encourage us in the way so that we don't lose momentum. When you think about it, the people closest to us hopefully should operate on that rubber band philosophy. Hey, Sandy and Antoinette. And the rubber band philosophy says, I will stretch you till you become uncomfortable so that you can have a breakthrough, but I won't stretch you so much that you have a breakdown. So, and there's a fine balance when you are pushing people, because tension is good, pushing people to be their very best, but not push them so much that they break and we cripple them versus help them be their best self. So we want to think about how we are interacting with our people in our lives, because we should be in each other's lives to help people be their best selves. We should be in people's lives to check them and change them and challenge them to be their best version of themselves, because if they are not growing, they're going to hurt you. And then now you have two people settling and two people sitting on the sidelines of life versus being activated to be in something more, something bigger and better, not only in society, but in their own life. So I hope that this helps. And when we do that, when you do these 7 things, you can have not only acceleration, but you can have ascension to be the highest and the best version of yourself, however you define it. So I think that's really, really important when we think about sisterhood. And hey, Marcella and Tanya. So again, I'm going to say those again, assumptions. Watch the assumptions. Don't should on people. Your rules are your rules for your own life. People don't really care what you know unless they know that you care. I love when Stephen Covey says that. So do not expect people to be imprisoned by your paradigms. If you want somebody to do exactly what you want them to do, don't get a person, go get a pet, go get a fish or something, because those are the only people or the only entities that will do exactly what you want them to do. So first one's assumptions. 2, make sure you have an agreement with them. Make sure that you are co-creating a friendship that works for both of you based on the variables and the vicissitudes of your life. Make sure that the relationship, the agreement is agile enough to welcome and to understand that changes, because life is full of transitions. So we want to make sure that there's agreement, because if not, you will always think somebody is falling short because you expect them to do A and they're doing B. But if you have a conversation, a courageous conversation, let people know what you need, and also be ready to say no, to hear no, and to together create something that works for both of you. 3, appreciate who people are, flaws as well as their ways that they are fabulous, because we all are fabulous and we all have flaws. Be willing to celebrate those things that make them unique, because they are unique. There will never be another person in the world just like your friend. So we want to make sure that we appreciate who they are, and also be at peace about who they are not. Because sometimes we keep trying to change people, and we nitpick people to death, and we criticize them to death as if criticism is going to help people be who you want them to be. What's happening is they're going to leave you because nobody's interested, and their spirit can't take that consistent assault. Again, what is their assignment? Why is the person in your life? Hey, Monty, again, people are in your life for 3 reasons: a refuge, a resource, or a new revelation. If they're not doing any of that, I want you to consider why they are in your life. Now, you don't have to kick them out, but you might need to reposition them, because people who are assets in your life need to have a front row. All the liabilities or all the neutral people need to be in the back, because neutrality, I'm gonna leave that alone. You don't want a lot of neutral people in your life. You want people who are for you in the light and celebrate you, for you in the night when you're going through adversity, for you when you're out of sight. They can speak up for you when people are talking behind your back, and you want them to be with you in a fight. You don't want any cowardly friends. You want people who are ready to duke it out, not physically, but duke it out for you, to support you. And then accountability. Will you do what you say you will do when you will do it? I think sometimes we take our friends for granted, and we become very slack in our deliverables. Our friendships should be have a spirit of mutuality, a reciprocity. If not, it's not a friendship, it's a parasitic relationship. And nobody wants a parasite, they want partners. Again, advancement. Is the person committed to grow? Hey, Sean, Miss Blessings and Rosalind, is the person committed to growth? Do they want to be more and better? And if they are not doing anything to advance their own life, they can't advance or support you in yours. Make sure that a person has ambition. It's nothing less attractive than a person that has no ambition. Just yuck. Nobody wants to be around that. You want somebody who's moving forward. And in activation, you want people who can motivate you, who can inspire you, who can help you live out your aspirations. You want people who can give you feedback, because self-awareness never happens in isolation. Self-awareness happens when you have courageous people in your life who will tell you the truth about your stuff. So we want to make sure that we have people in our life who can activate us so that we can be all that God has called us to be, so that we can ascend and have acceleration in our lives in ways that we have never asked before. But then I want us to make sure that when we are picking friends, I want you to think about it this weekend. Make sure you're picking friends from a place of health and not from a place of brokenness. The reason sometimes we have some broke down relationships because we are asking people to fill voids that only we can fill for ourselves. Right? We are asking people to heal wounds. But listen, people, if they didn't spill the milk, why they got to get it up? They can help you, but it's your job to be healthy, because if not, you're not going to attract healthy people. Remember, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you are busted, disgusted, and beat down and low down, you're going to attract busted, disgusted, low down, and beat down people. You attract who you are. So be the best who you are. Be a magnet. It's so interesting. I have so many wonderful people coming in my life, people I don't even know. And God knows I'm broke down. Now, I don't have to tell y'all my stuff, but I got some issues. But I'm grateful that people see enough goodness in me to bring me into their lives. And that's why you have to be open to allow people to come into your life. And remember, they don't have to be skin to you or kin to you to win to you. I think we minimize our exposure, or minimize our access to people because we want our friends to look a certain way. Again, follow principles and purpose, not personalities. Principles and purpose, because personalities change, but if a person has principles that solidify them, principles that guide people in your life. So I want to make sure that this helps you. Listen, if this is something that blesses you, please share it. And then I want you to be on the lookout where I'm going to have more of these sister circles that we can talk about these issues, because we women, we can be more helpful to each other, but it's hard to be helpful when you're not healthy, because all you do is bring your dysfunction into the relationship. And people spend more time trying to manage the relationship versus managing their purpose. Nobody wants to spend all their energy trying to make you feel better when they have their own drama, right? So I hope this helps you. I hope this blesses you. Be on the lookout for sister circles. A lot of sister circles I don't publicize because I believe in confidentiality. And when I work with people, I bring people into sister circles after the application process. I want them to feel like their whatever they disclose is safe. I think that's something we women have to do better, is provide places of safety. We need to be a sanctuary to each other so that we all can be our best selves and do what God has called us to do. So thanks so much for joining me, Jackie and Miss Blessings and Charlene. I hope I can see the sister circles. I'm not going to do the next one until probably September, because I'm traveling a lot with my job, because I still work with a pharmaceutical company. And also I got promoted, so I'm grateful for that. So be on the lookout. We'll do something in September. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm always grateful for you. And let's dare to soar higher together as we be the women that we have been called to be, but also that we can transcend from friendship to true sisterhood, so that we can be who God has called us to be, and we can help each other in a way that makes each other's heart sing. I don't know about you. I want your heart to sing, and I want my heart to sing. But just think, if our hearts are singing together, we can make some beautiful music. And I am ready to make amazing music with other women who are committed to greatness, who are committed to power, who are committed to success, who are committed to being a contribution, who are committed to love, committed to abundance, committed to joy, committed to ascension, committed to triumph, and committed to making a significant change in the world. So thanks so much. Blessings. And thanks so much for the congratulations too. I appreciate it. Blessings.